Welcome to the June 23rd City Council meeting. First order of business is the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, Madam Clerk, would you say the roll, please?
Mike Kincaid.
Present.
Keith Campbell.
Here.
Sandra Jasanowski.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
John Copeland.
Here.
Sierra Messenger is absent this evening, and Robert Hawkins.
Here.
Thank you.
Do we have any minutes?
We do not. We are working on the April 28th meeting, and so far it's not done.
Okay, good. Well, we'll move on. Any old business from the council? No. No old business? Move on to new business. First order is discussion for funding for demolition of 312 Thompson Street. Derek Warren, please.
I can make this real simple tonight. I just need $500,000 and then I'll be leaving. Just whatever you'd like, however you'd like to handle it. So, no. So I'm here tonight to present some initial numbers that we feel like are within a scope that's extremely accurate to remodel 312 East Thompson Street, which many of you know as the Electrochem building. It's been vacant for almost 20 years now, and we finally have ownership of it. That we've talked about that in some previous meetings. So tonight is about the next phase of this property since we officially own it now. And now we're talking about investing some money into it to clean the site up, obviously, but to also make it a usable park storage facility for operations at Abner Longley Park. The Parks Department has been using it since we've taken ownership of it, and it's worked out very well. But to set the example for the neighborhood, again, now is the time to make some changes to this building so it's presentable, not only to the park system, but also to the neighborhood. So the numbers that I sent you last Friday have inflated slightly because of some conversation that happened over the weekend about a fence. So we can talk about that as we kind of move through this. But I'm happy to go kind of line by line and discuss things from the email I sent. Just to be transparent, the email that you received on Friday for roughly a complete restoration of the building, we're looking at $417,000 and some change, almost $418,000. Adding a fence to the project changes the scope slightly. There's some additional asphalt work that would need to be done to make sure we accommodate things properly, and then obviously the expense of the fence and some gates. So adding a fence to that project increases the budget by about $75,000. So it takes it up to roughly $492,000 and some change. So we're talking about $500,000 for this project.
What kind of fence for $75,000?
Well, about 30,000 of that is additional asphalt work. So we're down to about $45,000 for a fence, but commercial grade 8-foot fence with automatic gates, that's ballpark figure.
And is it necessary to have the fence?
That was talked about over the weekend. I don't know that it's necessary. It may be preferred at this point, but in terms of security, there's not going to be outside storage of any sort, so it's all going to be inside. So adding a fence to it adds another layer of security, but I'm not sure that it does anything for outside storage or anything like that.
I mean, I saw an email about a fence, but I didn't see any numbers. Or who'd you have the conversation with?
So I think the conversation about the fence, Dick started the conversation with the fence about John. Yes. And I don't know if John replied all after that. So last I saw was Dick's recommendation that we install a fence. So we kind of put those numbers together as we came into work today.
Okay. Yeah, I asked if we needed a fence around the facility. It just seemed like to me we got fences around the other facilities that we have, that we probably ought to have some sort of fence around it, but.
And I'd agree with that, because I tell you what, you're asking for trouble if you don't have a fence around them. I guarantee
Okay.
you.
And you're here just introducing this tonight, not
Right.
expecting money
No.
tonight, are you?
No, I think most funding options are going to require an additional appropriation. So that's kind of what I wanted to set up tonight, so we know what we're looking at for the next meeting, so we can advertise properly if this is a project that we want to move forward with. Obviously, at the very least, demolition of the unusable portions of the building need to be accomplished, and you're talking about $35,000 for that, with some additional asphalt to clean that up as well. So you're looking at additional $24,000 for that. So you're up to about $60,000 in just demolition and some asphalt and seal coating, just to remove the unsightly portions of the buildings that are literally falling in on themselves. But it doesn't do anything to improve the site, to improve the aesthetics of the building,
Okay.
which would be siding, framing for new overhead doors so that it can be efficiently used by the Parks Department, pull in, pull out, without having to make some difficult maneuvers. New electric in the building, gas heat, and roof. I'm sorry, I think I overlooked that. And the roof is a little complicated. We're pretty high on the roof quote, I would say, but there's a parapet up there. If you take a closer look, so that building was added onto at some point, and they kind of just added on to probably the west, and just left the old outside wall there. So that's a penetration through the roof right there. And anytime you can remove a penetration from the roof, you're going to have less leaks, which is currently leaking right now at that point. So there's a little bit of restoration, remodel work up there on the roof that needs to be done. So that's why it's a little bit high.
These are high estimates that you got, right?
That's correct.
And everything, we're going to quote everything or bid everything when we get to it, right?
Yes, that is correct. So demolition
Everything-
and the asphalt has already been quoted. So those numbers we're locked in with those numbers.
The demo?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought the demo.
Yep. And the demo came in, I think it was like close to $100,000 less than we anticipated it was going to be.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Hopefully some others are a little lower than we anticipate as well. But these numbers have been pulled from other projects. Kevin just reminded me that the fence quote was pulled from the cost for the DPW building and the pickleball courts. So that's where those numbers are coming from. We're not just picking out of thin air. So we have some recent quotes that get us within the ballpark.
Anything else from the council? Any questions? Okay, well, I would say that, go ahead, Dick.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, I think we just need to take the number and figure out what we got in the funds the next couple of weeks there and see where we can go.
Right, get some hard numbers and then we'll take a look at it. Okay.
Let me ask you this. Should we go ahead and approve the demolition and at this time, funding for that?
That's up to you. The demolitions, the quotes for demolition, low was raised at $34,250. The high was Indianapolis demolition at $74,000. So again, well under what we budgeted for. Demolition obviously is a necessity. New asphalt and seal coating is as well. If you approved some money tonight for demolition, it would get us maybe a jump start on that. But without knowing kind of what the end game, what we want to do necessarily, it may be putting the cart before the horse just a little bit.
Well, my only thought is we've already got a quote for it. And instead of passing it down a few more weeks, let's maybe just go ahead and let's approve that. Let's accept that and go on and try to get that thing started because we got some funding issues that we need to figure out where the extra money is going to come from. and how quick, okay? And that money, I think we can take care of, I think.
Well, I mean, Derek's the expert on this, and he says kind of wait for it to be all, cohesive.
I mean, another 3 weeks, I don't know, makes a huge difference. We do have the bid in hand. We could give them the green light to start. And that at minimum, that has to be done,
You're right.
obviously. I mean,
I'm
I
not saying
don't
we're
know
not
they're
gonna-
going
yeah.
to, even if you make a motion tonight to pull money from somewhere that doesn't need an appropriation, I don't know that they'll start within 3 weeks anyway, but it would at least, let them put it on their schedule.
Right.
So maybe my comments about cart before the horse was, a little extreme. It's something that's going to have to be done.
Right.
So
that was
we
all-
can piecemeal that out and call that paid for and move on if that's what you'd like to do.
I mean, that was the whole thing right off the bat. Let's dip on those buildings and the rest of this stuff come after that. What are we going to do with the buildings, with everything else? Well, the whole intent was to fix it up, make it nice for the neighborhood and so forth. So,
Did they tell you when they were going to start, if they got it?
No, we haven't got that far with them yet.
Okay, so 3 weeks is not, or 2 weeks is not going to make a difference, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I think we're in a 3-week cycle to the next meeting. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So let's wait the 3 weeks, yeah.
We're not,
I can go either way with it.
and we're not sure where we would get the money from.
I just heard about this right now, so I didn't know anything about it, or we could have looked into it unless have you talked to Kelsey?
No, I mean, the only
Yeah,
account to pull from right now, which would need an appropriation, would be food and beverage, correct?
True. Yeah, they could go with food and beverage if they want to.
yeah.
Yep.
For the demolition, that's what I'm thinking.
Right. We know they can do that,
Right.
but we can do that in 3 weeks though, right?
I'd make a motion that we would do that because I would rather get the demolition done. And then we can work out the other stuff because it's just going to be a little more money to get together.
We can get a 3-week head start on it.
Exactly.
If they can start soon, that's fine with me too, but
Okay.
What are we looking at on food and beverage balance right now?
It was $1.1 million as of the end of May when I saw it. So we're somewhere close to there.
I'm sorry, 1 point what?
1.1 million.
Okay.
Tony, would you need more time to see if it is more appropriate to take it from somewhere else?
Well, this is okay if you guys want to move ahead with the demolition out of food and beverage. We know that that's covered. We have other investments that we've made from the general fund. And like I said, I didn't see that email, so I haven't looked at any big numbers. So I would, yes, we're okay for 35,000. If you want to take it from food and beverage, the other part we'll have to look at. We've actually got a meeting either in the morning or Wednesday morning with the investors. So to figure out if we're going to move money or what we're going to do. And like I said, I just heard of this right now. So
And I simply wanted to start the discussion
Yeah.
tonight so that we're
Yeah, and it
transparent
says
with it and
discussion,
it's
right.
open to the public to
Right.
look at if they'd like.
Yeah.
So
But the demolition has to occur, so we have a motion on the table. And we have a second to,
To move forward with the demolition of the building at 312. Okay, in the amount of 34,000 to, well, 35,000.
32,000 was it, or
34,250.
so not to exceed
Not to
$35,000.
exceed $35,000 for the demolition of that building there on Thompson Street.
out of the food and
Yeah,
beverage.
out of food and beverage.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. You can start that process.
And we'll stay in touch on how we're going to move forward before the next meeting.
Right.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. All right, next item is claims. Need a motion?
I make a motion, we pay the claims.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion to adjourn?
Motion we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Next meeting will be Monday, July 14th. Thank you.